This is an excerpt of a recent Power Up webinar called Ask Larry Anything. Hi, my name is Larry Jordan. In this short video, I explain the differences between Thunderbolt 3 and Thunderbolt 4. Well, what's the difference and how do you pick and where does Thunderbolt fit? Wayne says that he needs extra ports. The rear ports on the 2023 M2 Mac Studio are Thunderbolt 4. A Thunderbolt 4 hub ranges between $200 and $400, but there's a Thunderbolt 3 or 4 device that's rated at 5 gigabits a second for under $50. What advantage does a Thunderbolt 4 hub rated at 40 gigabits a second provide over one rated at 5 gigabits a second if many Thunderbolt devices don't go full speed? And the answer is you got to pay attention to the capitalization of the letter B. And the second is that what you're getting is access to greater speed. If you have something that's rated at 40 gigabits per second, lowercase b, that translates to 5 gigabytes per second. You take gigabits, divide by 8, that equals gigabytes. So 40 divided by 8 equals 5. So the maximum speed of Thunderbolt 3 or 4 is 5 gigabytes per second, though we don't get access to all of that bandwidth. So a lot of manufacturers will stress the gigabit count because the numbers are bigger. We need to pay attention to the gigabyte count, so we're comparing apples to apples. Remember that all the Thunderbolt hub is giving you is access to more ports. If that Thunderbolt hub connects via a single Thunderbolt cable to your computer, the maximum bandwidth is 2,800 megabytes a second, which is then split across all of those ports. So if you had 4 ports, that means that each port would get roughly 25% of the total bandwidth. You don't get 2,800 megabytes on each port on a hub. The bandwidth is shared between all the ports on the hub. So what you're getting is you're getting access to Thunderbolt, but you're not necessarily getting access to the full speed by having it go through a dock. But many of the things that we connect, scanners, keyboards, mice, cameras, audio gear, none of that needs the full bandwidth of Thunderbolt. So sharing the bandwidth across multiple devices through a dock generally doesn't cause any performance hit at all. Thunderbolt 3 and 4 supports 40 gigabits per second of bandwidth. That translates to 5 gigabytes. However, 16 gigabits of that is reserved exclusively for monitors and can't be used for data. That means that the maximum data bandwidth is 24 gigabits a second, which translates to roughly 3 gigabytes. Due to overhead, it works out to be 2850. If we put 2 4K monitors on one Thunderbolt channel, that reduces the maximum data bandwidth to 8 gigabits a second, 16 for monitor 1, 16 for monitor 2, leaves 8 gigabits or 1 gigabyte a second for data. Monitors always take precedence over data. So the most data we can get is 24 gigabytes, even if there's no monitor connected at all. Thunderbolt 3 supports data speeds up to 2850 megabytes a second, and it combines 4 PCIe lanes, which is how the device talks to the computer, combines 4 PCIe lanes into one channel for maximum speed. But it doesn't support RAIDs, and it doesn't support hubs, and the manufacturer of the gear, the hardware, needs to put in a Thunderbolt 3 chip. Thunderbolt 4 supports data speeds up to 2850 and supports RAIDs and hubs. However, it limits each SSD card, there's a maximum of 4 in a RAID or just a single SSD, to 1 PCIe lane, which is roughly 950 megabytes a second. And it requires a Thunderbolt 4 chip. So the developer can have it be Thunderbolt 3 or Thunderbolt 4, but it can't do both. You want maximum speed, that'd be a single SSD connected via Thunderbolt 3. You want a RAID, it has to be Thunderbolt 4, and each blade M2 card in a Thunderbolt in a RAID can only transfer data at the speed of a single PCIe lane, which is roughly a gig a second. So there's no free lunch. You get a trade-off. RAIDs give you more capacity, but each blade goes slower. Or Thunderbolt 3 gives you the maximum speed, but you can only have one SSD blade. This was an excerpt of a recent Power Up webinar called Ask Larry Anything. For the complete version of this online training, please visit our store at larryjordan.com/store and look for Webinar 360. By the way, when you need to stretch your training dollars, membership in our video training library saves you money and time. You can access all our videos for a low monthly price of only $19.99. That's almost 2,000 movies, hundreds of hours on a wide variety of subjects. Plus, premium members can download practice media and projects. Our training covers Apple and Adobe software. We update it multiple times each month, and for more information, visit larryjordan.com/membership. And thanks.